Shock Monkey Radio is created by adults for entertainment purposes. The views and opinions expressed here do not reflect the sponsors or FXPG Public Radio. For additional information, refer to the U.S. Bill of Rights. Stand warned. So let's go to this next story. Cities are going to extremes with coronavirus quarantine crackdowns, checkpoints, power shutoffs, and steep fines. This is basically an editorial, but I mean, it deserves to be noted. So with the daily number of coronavirus cases in the United States still hovering at about 50,000 and American deaths from the disease approaching 160,000, cities across the country are taking increasingly severe measures to force the curve of the outbreak downward, including power shutoffs, fines, and more. And perhaps the most striking example of a city's coronavirus response, Los Angeles sent police to a large house party in the Beverly Crest neighborhood after complaints from neighbors about the number of people there, about the number of people there. The CBSLA sent a news chopper, the kind normally used to document high-speed car chases, to relay video of a party from above. Police cited and impounded some of the cars in the area, CBSLA reported, but determined there was no noise violation and left. There was later shooting at the party, which prompted even more scrutiny of the incident. In response, Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti announced Wednesday that private residences that repeatedly host large gatherings will have their power and water shut off, according to Fox 11 Los Angeles. Can you believe this shit? Quote, these large house parties have essentially become nightclubs in the hills, he said. These large parties are unsafe and can cost Angelenos their lives. That's a quote from Garcetti. Outside of private homes, Los Angeles is cracking down hard on businesses potentially in violation of the city's public health restrictions. A July 23 news release outlined in the city's actions, including shutting down 26 restaurants, a grocery store, a pool, and 67 other businesses for health order violations. Beginning at the end of August, this is a quote, beginning at the end of August, fines will be issued to businesses that are non-compliant, and that can range from $100 for the first offense to $500 and a $30-day permit suspension for multiple offenses. This includes businesses licensed and permitted not by the department and those that are not, the city's public health department said. The Los Angeles itself, I read Los and I said the out loud. Los Angeles, despite efforts by one politician, according to the Los Angeles Times, does not have a fine system for individuals not wearing masks yet. But many other jurisdictions in Southern California do, according to Fox 11 Los Angeles. In Beverly Hills, not wearing a mask will cost you $100 for the first offense, $200 for the second, and $500 for the third. Calabasas will also fine those who are maskless in public. In Costa Mesa, Manhattan Beach, and Santa Monica, first offense is not wearing a mask is $100, $300 in West Hollywood, according to Fox 11. And the highest is in Glendale for $400 for a first offense, $1,000 for a second, and $2,000 for a third offense. Mask fines are gaining popularity outside of California as well. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner on Monday announced that his city will slap $250 fines on people going maskless in his city. Unbelievable. And the entire state of New Mexico is subject to a $100 fine for not wearing a mask, something the New Mexico Supreme Court upheld just this week, according to KQRE. Washington, D.C. is doling out fines up to $1,000. But cities' coronavirus measuring going beyond that, many places, including Washington, D.C., Chicago, New York, and others, now have rules requiring people coming from coronavirus hotspots to self-quarantine for 14 days after their arrival. In Chicago, this is communicated by a ubiquitous variable message board road signs above the highway warning travelers that if they're arriving from a place with elevated coronavirus counts, they are not welcome until they isolate for 14 days. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot said the isolation requirements includes 22 states plus Puerto Rico as of Wednesday. According to the Chicago Tribune, this is enforced with fines between $100 and $500 per day. New York is taking a more direct approach, setting up checkpoints at many of the city's entry points, using the sheriff's office to stop travelers, and if they are coming from one of the 35 jurisdictions that are New York's mandatory quarantine list, New York's mandatory quarantine list, having them fill out a traveler form. This is a quote. The checkpoints, I think, are going to send a very powerful message that this quarantine law is serious and important and crucial, and people have to follow it, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio said. The information required by the form includes what states the traveler has been to recently, and when, the address of where they are going, how long they plan to stay there, and how they are traveling to New York, birth date, gender, name, and whether they are bringing their children with them. According to the New York Times, the checkpoints almost certainly will not be set up at every entrance of the city, and not every traveler will be stopped. City Sheriff Joseph Fucito told the paper cars will be stopped randomly. Washington, D.C. and multiple other jurisdictions have also instituted mandatory quarantines on travelers coming from certain coronavirus hotspots, with parts of the country apparently backsliding in containment of the coronavirus. It's unclear when such orders and enforcement measures might be rescinded without the widespread administration yet to be developed vaccine. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top epidemiologist, agreed on CNBC Wednesday that the U.S. has the worst coronavirus outbreak in the world, saying the numbers don't lie. Officials, including Fauci, have stressed that widespread mask wearing by Americans, along with social distancing and good hygiene, is the best way to open the economy while keeping people at least somewhat safe as the country waits for scientific developments that can help put the coronavirus, at least partially, in the rearview mirror. All right, so this is it's just kind of an amalgamation of everything these usually Democrat mayors and governors are doing. And, when it comes to the police state that you and I both fear, it's going to come from these Democrats, because what they're talking about here when it's like moving into their city and so forth is very much like Soviet Russia when it comes to moving from area to area, where you need to have papers, you need to fill out this questionnaire, you need to have a background check, they need to check you. That's not how America should work. I'm sorry. And when it comes to like cutting off your water and power for assembly, for a First Amendment right, having a party. I mean, that's what the First Amendment is basically about. We have the right to party. That's what the Beastie Boys were talking about. You got to fight for your right to party. First Amendment. The right to assemble. That's what it is, partying. You can, it doesn't say assemble for any political reason. It doesn't just mean political protests. It's the right to assemble, just have a party. You're going to take people's water and power away? Arguably a human right? Arguably? What are you doing? This police state that you're going to see is going to come from the left. They are the ones that want to turn this into communist Russia, into a Soviet state. All right? They want to tell you what to do, what you have to wear. The Nazis had pieces of flair they made the Jews wear. Sorry. Just an Office Space reference to get me through the day. Get me through the day.